Welcome students. Today I will take very little time to explain about the geographical isolation. And geographical isolation can be studied in two heads. One head is called as isolation due to distance, that is called as spatial isolation. Second one is known as biotic isolation. Biotic isolation. First of all, you know about the isolation due to distance. Isolation due to distance. Okay. Isolation due to distance. Okay, isolation due to distance. That is called as spatial. Spatial isolation. Okay. And second one is called as biotic isolation. Called as biotic isolation. Okay. And these are the two heads, and by these heads you can study the geographical isolation. And you find the species which will be remaining far away from each other, but they can be exhibit the same characters, and by few characters they will be differentiated off. Okay, and let us come to know in detail under the isolation due to distance or spatial isolation. Okay, and you mark here, you find the shear distance. Shear distance. Okay, and that is shear distance apart may also act as a isolating factors for a species which occupy a great range of area which is unbroken by effective barriers. Okay, and you find the species which are somewhere also large, somewhere also small. Okay, and very small types of species also remaining at a one population as a gathering. But the larger species may be isolated easily from them. Just like you can separate your eggs. You can collect the eggs of the different birds. You know, ostrich is also a bird. Our Gallus or Gallus domesticus also be a bird. Ostrich also lays eggs, and those eggs are large in size, but the eggs which are laying by the hens, they are very small in sizes. In there, you also find the anas or ducks, they are also laying eggs. And hen's eggs and the anas eggs or duck's eggs, they are more or less similar. But ostrich eggs are a little bit larger. Okay, and larger means not in little bit, somewhere also be so large, it is quite differentiated from them. Okay, there is no any barriers in there, but you can easily differentiate to them by your eyes. By your perception, you can differentiate to them. But you mark the eggs which are more or less similar in all respects, and by few respects they will be differentiated off. Okay, and those will not be easily differentiated to them. But here you mark the shear distance apart may also act as isolating factors for a species which occupies a great range of area which is unbroken by the effective barriers. For example, you consider the bird one, that is called as wrens. The bird is named as wrens. Okay, the wrens is a bird like the sparrow. Like sparrow. Sparrow also be called as under the wrens. They are even in the different countries. You find the wrens like the Philippines. You find the wrens in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. You find everywhere the wrens. But wrens which are remaining in the Philippines, that is quite different from our, but the wrens are sparrow. Okay, wrens the little bird, and they would be remaining in the thatched house. Sometimes some type of the wrens also making the what? The nest, and in there they would be remaining in the what? Your coconut plant or palm plant in there. Okay, wrens are also be in different part countries. Okay, let us know detail about it. The other in the color patterns, size and body proportions and the habits, it shows that without any barriers, the sheer distance tend to produce the local races. Okay, the sheer distance tends to produce local species. Okay, that is called as the local races or species. Local species or races. Or types. Type or tribe or races. Okay, you can write the in plural term races. Sheer distance tends to produce the local species, types, tribes and races. Okay, and this is your negging expression regarding your isolation due to distance as the special isolations. Okay, and my topic is concentrated on the wrens is a bird, and the birds are not so large in our country, and in several countries you will observe some places they would be also remaining in the large form, but especially in our country they would be remaining very small in sizes. Okay, and you find that species in our locality they would be remaining in the thatched house, and some species also be remain in the palm trees, also in the coconut trees, and they are making the nest. In the beautiful nest also be there. In their niches they would be remaining there. And the species which are generally remain in the Philippines, they are not exactly our sparrow. In their head you find yellow mark is there. Okay, and that variety is quite different. Okay, and quite different means here only by the coloration it would be differentiated off. And in sizes they are more or less same. Somewhere the color pattern should be difference. Somewhere size also making the difference. Somewhere you find the body proportion also making difference. Okay, and somewhere also their habits also differentiate to them. Okay, and it shows that here without any barriers, sheer distance tends to produce the local races. Let us come to know about your biotic isolation. If you consider the biotic isolation, biotic isolation. isolation, it is also one direction of the studies. Generally, the scientist Huxley, who was the one taxonomist as well as also one ecologist, and also we consider to him as one evolutionist, named Huxley. Okay, Huxley believed that this is a special form of ecobiotic isolation. Ecobiotic isolation. Which one called as the adaptation. Okay, that is called as adaptation. Okay, of the animals to different modes of feedings, that is based upon the what? Feeding habit. Feeding habit. Okay, that is depend on the mode of feeding. For example, you can consider here one pickers, that is called as wood pickers. Wood pickers. Wood pickers. Okay, and wood pickers differ in size because of the differences in the food habits. Some are large, some are small, some are also in middle groups. Likely, size are different in there, and by them you can differentiate to those species. Then, according to him, according to Huxley, and it is the result of divergent what adaptations. Which of our adaptation? That is called as divergent adaptation. Divergent adaptation. Okay. Divergent adaptation of separate groups of parasites or plant-eating animals to particular host or food plots. Let us go in detail about that. You know the parasites. The parasites are depend upon the host for their survival. Some parasite depends upon the two different hosts. Somewhere you find one host and somewhere also more than two hosts. And they are also differentiated as your monogenic parasite, your digenic parasite, or your polygenic parasites. And parasites need the host to sustain. Host providing the nourishment to the parasites. Parasites fully depend upon it. Okay? That parasite will not be come to another body. Usually the parasite, some parasite also prefer to develop in the vertebrate organisms. They will not be remaining in the invertebrate. Okay? The vertebrate organism has multi-cells in their bodies. And they are also taking the maximum nourishment from the surrounding. And they are also taking the maximum oxygen to their body. And usually parasite to consume them. And particular parasite prefer to the particular host. They will not be prefer the other host to sustain. It is one thing. Second thing, some birds also be preferred to take the nutrients from the environment. Okay? And they would be called as your plant-eating animals. Plant-eating animals. plant eating animals. Okay, your plant eating animals, especially bird. Okay, other animals also be there, and which are called as herbivores. Birds and herbivores. Herbivores, which are taking the nutrients from the plant products. They are dependent upon the plant products. Birds and your herbivores, they will be select some food plants. Select some food plants. Okay. Human being also somehow select some food plants for the eating. They are also be considered as plant eating animals. Plant eating animals. Okay, let's come to know very beautiful example. And one example is known as apple fry. Known as apple fry. You know apple? A for apple. And apple shape is like. Okay. This is the apple plant. Okay. One fly to take interest. Okay. To eat to the apple. That is called as apple fly. Apple fly. Which one eat to the apple. This is the apple. Okay. Due to eat to the apple, this kind of fly is called as apple fly. Okay. And you find another types of the apple fly, but they would not be eat to the apples in there. They would be attack the blueberries. They would be attack to the blueberries. Okay, blueberries are also remaining on the plant called as blueberries. Okay, and these blueberries also eaten by another type of apple fly and will prefer to what? To take as their foods. Okay. And this little animal is called as your apple fly. Okay. But specifically to eat to the blueberries. Okay. That is also be another type of apple fly which one attached to the blueberries and huckleberries. Blueberries, huckleberries, and those berries generally eaten by this fly, which one also one type of apple fly, but they will be preferred to eat or to attack to the blueberries and huckleberries. Okay, in this manner you can establish your biotic isolation, and by that the habit, and they will be differentiated as the different names or different species, like the apple fly, this species, but they will be preferred to eat to the your blueberries as well as your huckleberries. No doubt that type of fly also be called as blueberries fly or huckleberries fly, but more or less they are similar with your apple fly. Okay, and this is the total description regarding of your biotic isolation, and formally I also explained about the isolation due to the distance as a special isolation, and laterally I explained about the biotic isolation to you. Thank you all.